Hey, welcome back, Panther fans. I'm David Brown along with Ryan Graham,
Hey, y'all.
Tim Ferber,
Welcome back.
and this is State of Atlanta.
What's up?
Thanks for joining us tonight, Ryan.
Hey, nobody even knows. All right. We're 1 minute late. All good.
How was y'all's week? I was actually down in Atlanta this past weekend, and I don't think I saw you, Ryan, but I didn't see you, Ryan. Saw you on Friday, and then Tim on the PG. Yeah, it's a kind of a blur. Blur.
Yeah,
It was
we had
one
some
long
beers.
week.
Well, I came down for the Peachtree, which Tim ran, and Ryan, I've tried to get you to run for several years, and yeah, that kind of like was the end of my trip, and it kind of blurred everything out. I don't remember anything now.
Yeah, I saw your get up, man. You looked very patriotic.
Yeah, it's part of the whole fun of the whole thing is getting out, decked out, and everything. Had a good time.
Good shirt. That made you a target for beer fundage.
Yeah, my record is always, or my goal has always been to try to finish that race as drunk as possible with as many beer as I could. And this time I actually finished carrying cans of beer in my pockets. I couldn't even drink all the beer that was given to me this time. So I call this a very successful Peachtree Road Race.
Wait, were you running with beer in your pocket?
At the end of it, normally when I get a beer, I'll slow down and walk while I drink that. But that last little stretch, when you turn at 10th Street, I'll run that bit because, come on, it's the end of the race. You got to run.
So, I mean, were those beers like worthy of drinking after being shaken up? So
I don't know. We had a friend of ours at the cooler down there at the end of the finish line
you just dropped them
with more beer and like 13 bottles of champagne for mimosas. And I put those 2 cans in there and I never saw them again.
You set a trap.
So I don't know if they end up exploding on somebody else, but that would have been pretty amusing if that's what happened. So, yeah.
And by mimosa, it was just basically champagne. And maybe a splash of something. It wasn't even orange juice, I don't think. It was like Tang or something. I don't know.
Well, yeah, whenever you make a mimosa, it's just a splash of OJ for color is all you really need there. You're not trying to make like a nice little refreshing beverage. It just needs a little color to the champagne.
Translucent. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
We went to a lake party that had in a like a jug full, like one of those with a spigot on it, for like fruit punch or whatever. But they had it was all the Long Island iced tea stuff, and it just had a bottle of Coke next to it, and it says just add a splash of this at the end just to give it the good color, Like, oh.
So you basically went to like the apartment parties back in college where they just had like a cooler full of Hunch Punch, and you had no idea what you were drinking. But you drank it all night long.
I brought my own beer, but it was way cooler than that because we were up at the lake and we, there was like a water slide off the back of a boat and we had a good time.
That's cool. Yeah. So Tim, I saw Tim at the finish line or right before the finish, and he just jumped back in and ran. I guess you did 6.4 miles instead of 6.2 on Sunday.
I gotta say, the Peachtree is longer than 6.2 period. I swear.
Well, yeah, because you have to walk 6 miles just to get to the starting line at the very beginning. It was the most absurd thing I'd ever done for a race. They had me walk a good 2+ miles from MARTA to get to the starting line. But anyhow.
It was an aggressive start this year.
Was it just because of how crowded it was? There's no place to park very nearby. Oh, it was just that's how close it was to the nearest MARTA station.
Well, no, because they started right there at Peachtree Links, where your office used to be, where I work now. Yeah. They start right there, but they had us get off at the Buckhead station. Or sorry, the Buckhead station, but go the long way around like by that old Navy and that like Buckhead Church, and then cross back over 400, and then go around the mall and go past the BP and turn around before you come in. It was really good. They had to do what they had to do. It was just
you have to have scratch and sniff.
It was just 5 o'clock in the morning. That's not what I wanted to be doing at that time.
Well, when it wasn't part of the race, you were in fact there to walk and run long distances.
Yeah, that's what I feel like race organizers don't get. Is like, yeah, there are some people that are there to run a race. There's others of us that are old and fat, out of shape, and each additional step I have to take really puts a pain in me. It makes me hurt really bad the next day, which I was pretty sore the next day.
Luckily, you didn't feel anything until the next day.
That is for sure. I really didn't feel much of anything that day. Anyhow, enough of that. You can tell there's really nothing to talk about this week because We spent 5 minutes
Peachtree.
talking about Peachtree, which, just to tie it all back together, was started by a Georgia State professor or student. I think it's a professor forever ago. So this is Georgia State related.
We should just rename it the Panther Run.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Never going to happen.
Never going to happen. What is this? I do think they need to have a 5K. Well, I guess they did do a 5K race at the stadium before the world went to crap.
They still do it. It's Thanksgiving Day now.
Mm-hmm. There is a Thanksgiving one.
Was that the half marathon that I did?
QQQ.
Yeah. They definitely need to make that a regular thing. Like the Falcons have a 5K, the Hawks have a 5K, Braves have a 5K, and they all finish at their arena or stadium in some capacity.
Wasn't there like a nighttime one that had like dance club stops along the way? Like they had little pop-ups in the parking lots of like DJs playing and people could stop and like dance or something. I don't know, man. It was weird.
I've got no idea about that, but I feel like it sounds awesome.
There's a speedo run and a purple dress run. Maybe it's one of those. I don't know.
I feel like you couldn't really do that at night, though. I think the noise ordinances would not allow DJs to be doing PA sounds at night.
Yeah, they were. They did it.
They are doing the Thanksgiving QQQ again at Georgia State Stadium. And they call it Georgia State Stadium in their information.
But it's not Georgia State Stadium anymore.
Not Center Park Stadium.
Not Turner Field when it was Georgia State Stadium. So they're just a little
behind.
I guess I really can't get onto all these recruits and everybody that use the wrong logos when we can't even get our own branding right. If we're not going to ensure that promotional materials go out using the sponsor, the company that paid us $20 million to have their name on the stadium, if we're not enforcing that, come on. Why do I expect a 17-year-old kid, because he's only 17, to get the right logo on his Twitter?
Is the exit sign not Turner Field anymore? I don't even know.
Still Turner Field.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, well, there's only one sign that's been changed. It's the heading into the city from the west, coming in. That actually says it does say Georgia State Stadium, but when we got the sponsor announced, now it's wrong. But when they got the sponsor named, that's one of the things we said is that the signs were currently being printed, like it's going to be going up. And we thought, granted they run at the speed of government, but I would thought that by now, a full year in, we would have had that. If I paid $20 million to have my name on a stadium, I'd want all the signs pointing to the right place.
I don't care, but I like to rile you guys up.
How long does our deal last? Because then they can just wait until that runs out and changes names, and then they can just change the highway signs after that.
It's brand new.
It's 15 years, right? It was a 15-year agreement that we signed.
We can wait it out. We can definitely wait it out. Yeah.
Well, we're probably scheduling games for that season already. I feel like the games get scheduled so far out. There's probably a 2036, a 2035 game on the schedule.
Bama.
Ooh.
At home.
Yeah.
Open up the whole upper deck. Just leave it all.
No, that one will be at Mercedes-Benz because they'll want to make that a big SEC ACC matchup.
Oh yeah. ACC,
wow.
Man, you put us even a step above.
That's some special sauce right there.
Well, I'm talking about once we win the national championship in 2025, right, and all the conferences come a calling, and I think we at that point will have adopted Georgia Tech as our engineering school and just rename them. That'll be our Midtown campus.
Well, Georgia Tech will have gone to the Big 12 or Big 10 or whatever, right?
Oh, I was just saying that we were going to absorb them, and then Bobby Dodd can just become for our intramurals and things. And then, of course, Center Park Stadium would be the...
Can we be better at football than them?
I think we would have been last year had we played each other.
Fair enough.
I'm looking forward to that game. Like, can you imagine? I was talking to my Tech friends on Sunday in the pool. If we get into that first matchup and we beat Collins, like, he's got to be gone that year. Because, like, you're beat, but you've never beaten Georgia. Oh, and then add Georgia State on top to that cake. As Tech fans would lose their minds.
Yeah, I'm still surprised that those games got scheduled. I was really not expecting us to get a Georgia Tech game on the schedule, figuring the only way it would happen is through some kind of bowl game or something. But there's no even tie-ins that would have gotten that to happen.
Plenty of in-state schools play other, quote unquote lower tier in-state schools.
But nearly but nearly every single one that have done that they've done it for a long time. It always been happening. Look at the Arkansas State guys in our own conference. They can't buy a game with Arkansas. I'm probably trying to get Arkansas to pay them, but still. So Arkansas State's ready to, or sorry, Arkansas is ready to pay Georgia Southern to go all the way up there to play them, but they're not going to pay in-state school to come over there and play them just a couple hours away.
I think that's weird, but I don't think we should be surprised when they do want to play. It doesn't make
No, it's a pleasant surprise. I remember exactly sitting in my office when that announcement came out and just being like shocked, like how, and I'm pretty sure it was.
How did this happen?
I'm pretty sure it was a Wednesday. It was a day after we'd recorded. So like, of course, now you've got this awesome news that we'll just sit on for 6 days before we to talk about it.
I mean, that was like the first question Bill Curry ever got in a press conference, wasn't it? It was like, when are you going to play Georgia and Georgia Tech?
Georgia, definitely. I don't know if Tech was
included in that.
Yeah.
I mean, what a good like Coops getting them to come to our stadium. Like
that's
been like, you can come play us, but
about.
we're not going to come to your house. You know.
I mean, the 2-for-1 is sort of what I was surprised about, because like having them come play at our stadium, that is sort of a weird thing, right? Not being a money game, like they're just sort of playing us. Normal.
But the 2-for-1 makes sense. They still get to be the school that's the bigger name because they get the two home games. They're not paying somebody $800,000 million to come likely beat them at their home stadium.
No travel.
So and then their travel costs, they could literally just give every student or every player a MARTA card the morning of the game and say, see you there.
Honestly, before home games, they probably stay in a hotel. They'll probably just stay at the same hotel that they normally would stay in for a home game.
Right.
I mean, it would make sense.
Slightly longer bus ride. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it might not even be, depending on where the hotel is. I mean,
I want to say that I don't think they stay anywhere near campus. I'm really certain that when I was living in Brookhaven, I saw a bus coming down 85, a Georgia Tech bus coming down for a Georgia Tech home game. So I think they may have actually stayed in, Dorville or something weird, random like that.
Right near the Cheetah or something. Not Cheetah. Pink Pony, right up there on 85, right?
Well, I mean, you would think it would kind of make sense, make sure that there's as few distractions as possible. The kids couldn't just like go out. The adults, the men, the student athletes could not just walk out of their hotel and have all their buddies hanging out, partying, doing whatever.
Right.
You want to kind of make it a bigger barrier to entry. But yeah, you would also think they would just stay at the closest hotel to campus just to make it easier. But yeah.
You got to think for them too. I mean, I like the fact that they're obviously going to come to our stadium, but it gives their fans a chance to see their team again, right? It's not a home game, but it's not far, so it's like an extra game for them.
I mean, it's a home game from a fan perspective. I live at my same house, and I go just another mile down the road to go to a game. I mean, the two games we play there. Yes, it's a home game for Tech, but as a Georgia State fan, it's a home game for me. I don't change my process. I just hop on the connector instead of hopping off at Central Ave and go tailgate and do whatever I want to do for the game. You
could just tailgate in front of our stadium and then somehow get over to your stadium.
That's what I wanted to do before this ever became a reality. I was talking about how close these universities are, is have everybody at Georgia State just tailgate on campus, and then like 30 minutes for the game, just everyone parade march down Peachtree into Midtown or probably Marietta or something.
I wonder if they're going to make us get season tickets like they do Georgia fans.
The packs. Yeah, he's got like
they make them buy. They make them buy season tickets to get tickets to the Georgia game.
Well, that's what we did for Bama tickets or something. Isn't that what happened? Oh, no, Bama fans bought our season tickets for their eligibility to buy tickets to the Georgia State Bama game. That very first season. Yeah, we didn't do that. Yeah, well, I mean, we one of the reasons why I had some inflated numbers that very first season, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think what year? When is that first game? It's 2 years, not counting. So it's like 3 years from now.
I don't know, man. You're my schedule guy. You always have all the answers.
Well, because I guess I can lead right into this. I looked at our schedule for doing more road trip games, like we announced last week, doing the Auburn game this coming year. I was like, all right, well, what out of conference games can we have as our road trip game? And it lines up perfectly with South Carolina next year and Vanderbilt maybe the following year, and then I think it's Tech would be the
2024, August 31st.
Yes, that math works out. So maybe instead of doing a bus trip that year, well, we either do a bus trip to a conference game or we just instead do our little tailgate parade from downtown to midtown.
Everyone get on
we got to ask whoever the mayor is at the time to close down the streets, right?
Yeah, we should. That should definitely try to be pushed to be like the Mayor's Cup or some kind of weird name for that game. But yeah, so start talking about just as a reminder to anybody that didn't listen last week or something, but we have a chartered bus heading from Atlanta to Auburn for the game on September 25th. Tickets are on sale now at auburn.stateofatlanta.com. Early bird, if you're watching this live stream, then early bird prices go on through the rest of the night, and the standard pricing starts tomorrow when this podcast actually gets released. But I'm looking forward to that. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. Tim's not going because he's a punk.
Cold already.
He avoids fun at all the costs. So
yes, that's why I ran the Peachtree.
That does not sound like fun to me.
But I did drink 2 beers during the race.
2, how cute.
And apparently I'm too fast because Norm wasn't even there.
I think that I drank 2 beer before the first water stop. So not that I'm bragging or anything, but I am a raging alcoholic.
But did you bring 0 beers?
I brought 0 beer with me.
Nice.
You get the freebies. That's what it's all about.
Oh yeah, it's definitely playing
weird alien men with the green suits on and
they were
whatever the hell they were wearing.
Yeah, the floaties and they'd pull floats around them in their green alien costumes. Yeah, I may have been dressed up, Ryan, but I was by far not the craziest dressed person out there that
Sounds
day.
like it.
So, but yeah, so I go check out the bus trip to Auburn. It'd be awesome.
Woo!
Oh yeah, I guess we'll move on from there.
So going back to Georgia Tech, it's not a 2 for 1. It's a 1.
So we got
1.
It's a 1-1.
Right.
I thought it was.
I thought someone said it's 2 for 1.
I
said it was because I assumed that's what it was. Even better.
I think
even
basketball might be. Maybe it was basketball. 2 for 1.
Basketball definitely is because we had the one this past season, one this fall, and then they help us open up the Convocation Center, which I have not been able to go by when I was in town. I tried to sneak a glimpse when I was on MARTA, but it's really far away from the line, so I couldn't really see any kind of progress.
I just drove by on my way back from dinner tonight, and on the side facing the highway, there is which side, right? The on-ramp, like facing the on-ramp for the highway there.
The north.
There's white paneling going up already, like the outside of it. So
that's gonna be the biggest bummer part about watching this thing go up so far. It's been so cool to watch, like the basketball innards, the bones of the basketball arena going in there. And now we're gonna spend the next year, just over a year, of seeing 0 progress because it's all gonna be behind closed walls.
Yeah,
that's where you sneak in.
There'll still be stuff. They'll still do some things on the outside, right?
I hope so. I was kind of looking at those trees across the way from the window, and I was like, those might block the view.
Oh my goodness, you people in your window.
I'm not worried about that. Even being able to see trees through that window, I think that's going to be awesome. I think you'll be able to see the skyline. I'm sure you'll be able to see the skyline as long as that window is in fact there. I think it'll be good.
It's there, I promise.
Also, and I got to stress this, there will be a basketball game happening, and you will not need to look out of a window.
Fair enough.
Well, before and, during halftime, and then at concerts when the band sucks, you can look out the window.
I won't go to that concert.
Oh yeah, I didn't even put this down to talk about, but there's a concert. Well, we knew what the concert happening for at Center Park Stadium, but we didn't have any of the acts. And I know of one name on that poster. That's all I know.
The big name is Lil Baby. I don't know who that is.
And I could not tell you a single song that person I have heard of sings. But is Little Baby a different person than Da Baby? Because I know Da Baby gets it on with Dua Lipa and my favorite song, Levitation.
There are no T's in Lil Baby, David.
Oh, Okay.
None. But he is in fact a small child, small one. He's a little baby, not a large baby.
I don't think that the three of us were ever target demographic for this concert, and that's completely fine. It does look like it's going to be an awesome event there that hopefully translates in people getting used to that actually being an event space and come to games or come to something else, because there's going to be plenty of Georgia State alums in that crowd that probably have never been there before.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
We should do more and more of that stuff. It'll it definitely helps bring people into that building and see that it's actually pretty darn cool.
Ooh, they're gonna have the upper deck open.
Oh, back to the upper decking again.
I can't hear you guys talk about the upper deck without giggling inside.
Anyway, they're gonna have to take down our covers.
It's probably not that hard.
Yeah, but I think that whole thing was put in there with the ease of ability. I'm sure it's just being rolled up at the very back of the seats, and they just roll it back down whenever they're ready for a game.
Calm down all of PantherTalk, because they're in uproar about not having seats available.
What?
Plenty of seats will be available. You can just roll it up and roll it back down.
There are so many seats available. What are they upset about?
Outside of the crowd at the very first game ever, we're never going to run it. We have not run into an issue with available seats at a Georgia State game. I mean, that's one of the number one. It's one of the number one things that others at school soccer give us crap about. But I thought it was great. Without all things considered, last year I thought it was actually pretty cool. The amount of crowd we had in there, I felt it was like evenly spaced out versus having just pockets of people, and it kind of felt more like a real attended football game. And I think with the new seating
before, the band on the other side spread out. I thought the acoustics there were really good. I really enjoyed them over there.
Well, if you think about it, the way that stadium was originally constructed, with being a baseball stadium, the sound kind of comes from that home plate side, and that's where they were closer to. They were basically on that first baseline.
Yep.
And I have no idea if a baseball stadium is built acoustically like that, but it would make sense that it would sound the best coming from that area versus coming out from under the touchdown club or university club, whatever it's called.
Yeah,
I do find it interesting. They moved the stage for this birthday bash. It's kind of out towards the new east stands at an angle, so it's kind of angled sort of towards home plate, but not. But I like that setup. Looks
Where'd
nice.
you see the setup?
Ticketmaster.
Oh, all right, fair enough.
I was trying to find the app.
So So is it? They put the stage where the new seats were constructed, like on that platform area?
No. The stage is on the ground level, but let's say you went to like the 50-yard line, which is section 131. That's the top corner of the stage, and then it comes out at an angle down, making it rectangle. So it almost faces home plate, but just not really. A little bit of a different angle.
Interesting. At some point, I'm going to get frustrated with us using baseball terms to describe the stadium, but it's literally the best way to describe everything. Everybody,
I don't know how to do it otherwise.
You start bringing up north sides and west sides and east sides, and despite everyone knowing their cardinal directions, you're like, yeah, but was that the old baseline, the first baseline? That's what it is, right? Yeah, that's what you're talking about. So
it's about where second base used to be.
Okay, that's interesting. So basically, just moved it up, I guess 50 yards from where Foo Fighters was.
Yeah, pretty much.
The thing that surprises me about the upper deck is
now you're saying it.
What?
Now you're the one saying it.
Yeah, well, it was closed off because it actually wasn't up to code. So I wonder if they've done the work to fix that, or if we're just doing it. And maybe I shouldn't even be talking about it on a podcast.
Yeah, I don't think that it was not ruled not up to code. I think that the inspections that needed to be done for it to be used just had not been done because they had no intention of using that. Now, I may be pulling that out of my ass, but that was my understanding, was there wasn't anything specifically wrong with it. They just had no intention of using it at that time, so had not paid to have whoever come out and just say, yeah, we're signing off that this is cool. That being said, it does sound like the Braves tried to leave Georgia State with a dump on their hands. They really did a poor handoff, talk about burning bridges and things like that. If they think that we're going to go up there and buy Truist Park when they're ready to leave in 23 years, they got something else coming. But not after the way they handed this stadium off to us.
Well, the whole point was that they were trying to get Atlanta to foot the bill for a lot of those repairs and maintenance and stuff, and Atlanta was like, no, you guys are $100 million a year. Why would we do that?
Because that's somehow how we've convinced governments to operate, is to spend money on these private organizations generating hundreds of millions of dollars. But that's a topic for a different podcast that I'm sure that you're on, Ryan.
It's you're on it next. We're going to talk about that. Yeah.
There we go. There was some news that came out today I want to talk about. We can talk about other random real estate things as much as y'all want, but it was announced today that new softball coach for the Panthers. Not Lady Panthers, just the Panthers softball team. But it's not like there's a men's softball team. Anyhow, Angie Nicholson from Hampton was named the head coach, and she's been coaching for quite some time. So awesome. We had touched on some potential problems within that coaching situation earlier in the season. So it sounds like definitely something was done. If that was a problem, something has been done to address it, which is awesome.
I'll take the 20 years of experience and winning record. How about that?
Well, the winning record is one thing, but she's only been coaching at Hampton for the past 4 years. And in that time, her first season she had a winning record, but it was 23-22. She had a winning record by one game. Did not have a winning record until this past year, which was 15-4. The season got cut short, I think, or got condensed because of COVID and everything, so they didn't have as many games. But a 15-4 season definitely sounds like things were going well in her last year, which I guess that's how you judge a coach, right? They come in, you got to give them at least 3 or 4 years to get their recruits in, instill their system, and get rid of whatever was the problem that got a head coach needing to be hired in the first place. So, and Hampton's colors are blue and white, so she doesn't have to change her wardrobe outside of things that already
slap a logo over Hampton.
Exactly.
Make sure it's push up Panther that.
God, if there's any of that even available, like I'm assuming there probably is just kind of like a place in like the athletics offices where they have polos and shirts and things for coaches and staff to grab. I have no idea. I assume that if there is one thing and there was a push-up Panther push-up Panther logo on it, burn the whole thing down, the whole place. It's like finding a spider in your bathroom. Well, I guess I'm moving now.
We need to figure out how to get YouTube TV or / Google to change our logo. That's the big one.
I remember writing in or sending emails to Yahoo to get the push-up Panther taken out back when Pantherhead first came or was officially announced and stuff, and it took forever for them to do anything like that. No one cares.
There's a way to get it done. I don't know.
Yahoo is like the only person who currently goes to our website is worried about our use of the Georgia State logo. We should fix it. Oh, but we're a really bad company anyway, so it's going to take us a while, even though our only consumer is complaining. Nobody uses Yahoo.
Yeah. For fantasy football.
I use Yahoo for fantasy football, and I use Yahoo. That's kind of my go-to for like scores, just like game scores, whether it be really like baseball. I guess I go to it mostly for baseball scores, because then I go to FB schedules for all football stuff.
Scores. Speaking of that, man, whether I want them or not, they're like, it's like here's a local team, and here's what the score was.
Speaking of schedules, the FCS 2021 schedule's out. Is that what you're going to say, David?
No, I was going to say that I was spending one of my many days perusing FB schedules and noticed like that the 2007 year of the Falcons schedule they showed being played at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So I emailed the dude and been like, that was Georgia Dome. And he replied back like within an hour or two. He's like, cool, fix. Sorry. I'm like, sorry that I'm actually just going back to the 2007 Falcons schedule on your site.
That should have been the first question he asked you. Wait, what are you doing?
Exactly. What's wrong? Oh no, I put it flat on the. I was like, dude, I love your website. I spend way too much time just perusing old schedules and looking at things. And in fact, I found that this stadium was wrong, but anyhow. But yeah, welcome Angie Nicholson to the softball program into Georgia State, and hopefully we see a turnaround there and get back to competing, which actually kind of leads into a topic that I had no interest in discussing, but I really couldn't find a lot of things to talk about before, so I put it on here. Do you guys even know what the Bubas Cup is, and if you do you care about it whatsoever at all?
I do and I don't.
I know it exists, and I don't care about it.
One of the posters on PantherTalk, I want to say it was one of the Eds, posted that we finished this sports year our lowest performance ever in the Bubas Cup, and my immediate knee-jerk reaction was I could not care any less about the Bubas Cup because it has to do with the Sun Belt. And somebody came back and said, yeah, but it's an all sports thing. And if we want to be taken seriously and move into better conferences, we need to see a better performance all in all. But I thought about that and I was like, that's very logical, makes a lot of sense. I do not care about anything that involves another Sun Belt team whatsoever at all.
Take Bubas Cup seriously to begin with?
Well, the thing is, it's a kind of like how it was said that the rivalry series with Southern, like it was a bad metric, because it was kind of rigged that Georgia State would never really lose it, even though may have. But that's the thing with the Bubas Cup. It's all based off of getting points for playing sports, and some schools play more sports than others. So there's some schools that just are literally at a mathematical disadvantage. And for those listening who have no idea what this is and are still listening to something about the Sun Belt, it's basically you get points for winning different games in all the Sun Belt sports. And at the end of the season, you're kind of like the king of the Sun Belt if you win the Bubas Cup. But it's like South Alabama wins it a lot, despite not being a very good program, just because they play every one of the sports, whereas we don't play 4 of them. And after this season, we don't play 5 of them because men's soccer moved to the MAC.
And they don't count all the sports either. So it's only certain sports. And once I realized, like when we first joined the Sun Belt, and I realized that like it really mattered if you were playing those sports, and then they didn't like normalize it against schools that didn't necessarily play those sports. I was sort of like, well, why? I mean, like, why should I care about? Even if I cared about the Sun Belt, why would I care about this? Like,
yeah, it's like
win. It's like
dumb. One team has the ability to score 200 points total, and we only have the ability to score 170 points. I've actually got no idea what the numbers
Something
are.
Like that.
But,
yeah, it's just dumb.
but if you have if you don't have the ability to score as many points as somebody else, then it's not a legit metric. And I get it. They want to make it equitable. They want all the sports to count. But yeah, there's no normalization to take into account that. Yeah, sorry, we don't have an indoor track and field or a men's track and field team, so we just can't get points from that.
Right.
And they get a championship and score 10 points because they got a championship out of the whole thing.
Well, and I think like beach volleyball is not included because the rest of the Sun Belt doesn't play it.
Well, we should get points.
What?
We should get points then.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is like they don't even include all of our sports. Like so they should at least like let us make up for it, because all the schools do have probably the same amount of or a minimum amount of sports. You know, I mean.
Yeah, it should be, like include all member sport. Like, if all the schools are playing a sport, that one gets included. If all the schools are not playing it, we're not going to count those. Maybe there's some other kind of metric or get like, hey, you won a championship in that sport, so that's good enough for you. Yeah. But
I couldn't do football then if it was about all members.
Well, that's true.
Like football wouldn't be included.
All right. See,
it's super fascinating. We should rename it Bubas Cup instead of Bubas Cup.
When I first saw it mentioned, I think it was on the Sunbelt message board, and I just assumed it was a misspelling of Bubas Cup. And I'm like, what kind of honky top conference have we got into here? They've got a Bubas Cup. All these Alabama schools and Louisiana, education facilities. Like, what the hell's going on? But yeah, it's named after the first commissioner of the Sun Belt, Vic Bubas, who had he was commissioner for 15 years, but all of his real successes came from playing for Duke and being a coach or playing for NC State and being an administrator at Duke and stuff like that. But all right. I think he's credited for when he came in, he took took the Sun Belt from like 6 to 8 teams. Like, wow, you added 2 teams. Something that a commissioner is like supposed to do in their job. I don't know. I may be talking trash about somebody who's like a really awesome human being, and I've got no idea. I just don't care about the Sun Belt and the other schools. And yeah,
I was gonna say you picked something. You picked to elaborate on something I care less about the Sun Belt about, which is Bubas.
Bubas.
Yeah.
Hey, we got a new softball coach, so we're going to improve next year at Atlanta.
Yeah. Well, softball will be one of the many conference championships we have next year, going towards our Bubas Cup point total or something like that.
I'm gonna start asking you every week where we are with our Bubas Cup.
How's Bubas Cup?
Right. Well, fortunately, it's going to be several weeks before that even comes into play, and by then, I know for a fact you'll forget about it.
I was gonna say I'll ask anyway, and you say by then, but literally by next week I'll forget.
Exactly. Yeah, that's I think that's all I had to talk about this week, unless there was a very hot topic on Panther Talk on concessions, and I don't know if we want to like retread on that whatsoever. But Ryan has a pretty strong opinion on anybody that has an issue with concessions at Center Park Stadium.
We get a souvenir cup.
Oh, that was a private conversation. Oh boy!
You're not ready to go public with what you think of people that have problems with concessions at Center Park Stadium. You want to save it for last call?
Definitely upgrade your tickets, plebs.
There is good concessions.
Just buy more expensive tickets. I've got no line upstairs.
I do think they need to have a dedicated pack line. Like if there's like a problem, and to have a line where kind of like at Delta with a little Sky Priority, it's just a separate line. And if there's anybody standing there, that person gets picked next in line, and make it based off of some arbitrary number of pack points or dollars that you have. And you get like a little card every season that gets you access to your priority line. I don't know.
Okay. I don't know, man. Or just like there's not that many people there, and it's not that hard to have good concession like line situations. It doesn't take many, right? But they have a bunch of them closed. They'll have like one cashier at the pizza place where they could have 2 or whatever, and like they just severely mismanaged the process, in my experience.
Like that Troy watch party we went to was concession situation was just like was ridiculous.
Well, it didn't make any sense. They put us in one place and then they didn't open the concessions at that place. They made you walk a bunch. It's like, this doesn't make sense. If you're going to open one, open it over here.
Exactly. Yeah. There's one in and out spot to get down to the seats or the field or whatever it was. And there was concession stands on either side of that entrance. Neither were open. But yeah, that first one you walked into when you first showed up, right. A mile and a half away. Maybe it's the same people that did the Atlanta Track Club, the Atlanta Track Club planning for the Peachtree. Maybe it's the same people that figured this one out. Like, people love to walk.
Well, we know a guy, right? In the Atlanta
we do know a guy.
Club. We can talk to him if it's him.
I saw him at the Braves 5K. I did when I was back in town several weeks ago.
Nice.
So, all right, cool. I think it's 40 minutes in. We can do a little last call action. So
right.
you guys got anything else at all?
No, I don't think so.
Just last call action.
Thanks, Brian, for listening. We're going to head over to last call, drink some more, talk a little bit more candidly about what Ryan really thinks of those people not sitting in the club seats. And it's available on our Patreon page, patreon.com/State of Atlanta. $3 a month to join. You get early access to last call. You get access to our private group chat, discounts on merchandise, and our
bus trip.
And discounts on the bus trip. $10 off on the bus trip. It takes more than 3 months of your Patreon member to cash that in or whatever. I don't know. I'm trying to use math. Anyhow, so check it out. Patreon.com/State of Atlanta. You'll be able to find Last Call free on Friday and available immediately to our Patreon members whenever I get around to uploading it. I'm pretty lazy. So thanks everybody for listening, and we will talk to you next week.
Bye, y'all.
Peace.